Welcome back, my friends, to the motorbike show that never ends. It's hello from him, and it's hello from Sasha the Guzzy dog. Are you a Guzzy dog? No, you're a Himalayan dog again. You like being a Himalayan dog? Yeah, that's a good girl. Okay, so we better get on with it, eh? Let's put you on pause while I walk over there. Put you on pause. Joke, haha. Okay, so welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about tank bags. I'm not a huge fan of tank bags, but they do serve their purpose now and again on a long trip. It's a handy place to put things that you need without having to rummage around in your main luggage. And to be any good, of course, they have to be waterproof and dustproof. Now, a few years ago, when I decided to get into long distance motorcycling, I bought a Suzuki V-Strom, which is an excellent motorbike, extremely reliable. And once you've changed a few little things to suit your build and your comfort levels that you expect in windscreen, etc., it is a very reliable, great motorcycle. V-Stroms, you can't beat them. Have you ever heard of a V-Strom that's broken down? No, I doubt it. But anyway, time marches on. We find ourselves riding different kinds of bikes, but I kept the tank bag, thinking I could use it on other bikes, and I've only been able to use it on one other bike. Now, the reason for this is I chose one of these clip-on bags that fits onto a horseshoe-shaped bracket because I didn't want bra straps upsetting the paint on the tank, and I didn't want strappy things because the grit and muck always gets under them and rubs, and I didn't want magnetic because magnetic will chip the paint, and little metal particles will get stuck to the magnets and they will rub the paint. So I thought this is the best way to go. This is a SW Motec Yukon 90. I don't think they make this anymore. They've changed the model. I think at the time this was relatively inexpensive. I don't know, 90, 100 something dollars like that. Nowadays the modern version of it is $250. And obviously this one is still good, so why buy a new one? So let's put it on the Hemi. Bring it out of retirement, put it on the Hemi. But there's one big problem. Let me show you how this bag comes off to begin with. Anyway, you just pull this, and the whole thing comes off. Oops. And then you can get to your fuel filler. But like most adventure type bikes nowadays, this has a very tall tank, and to put it on top of the fuel filler like it was designed for originally will be up here, and in the way of the handlebars you couldn't see the screen, etc. So they make these adapters where the horseshoe is down here, but they cost money, and like a lot of things, not available for this Himalayan right now. And another thing is, this tank opening is much smaller than most bikes. This is the horseshoe bracket that fits on the top of most fuel fillers. Now this fitted on my V-Strom, fitted on a Triumph Tiger, fits on a KTM, probably Ducati. It fits on loads of bikes because the bolt pattern is very similar, but not so with Royal Enfield. So we have to look at getting a different attachment, and also we want to bring it down here, bring the bag down here to get it out the way of the handlebars. So I believe SW Motec make one. I couldn't get one in Canada, and obviously they cost money. These cost about $50, and the bracket I think is 120, so a fair amount of change. But they don't do these bags anymore, so you have to step up to the new bag, and the new bag uses a different mounting system. I believe it's also magnetic, and I believe the bottom of the bag here has a sliding arrangement, where with mine, you see I've had to drill the bottom for different bike fittings. Obviously when the bag's in use, these holes will be blocked up with bolts and sealed with silicone so the water doesn't get in. But no big deal. I can't see this bag ever being fitted on any other bike except this one, if it proves to be okay. So what do? We can't get an adapter like this. So what do? Well, we do what we normally do. We sit down and we work out how we're going to get around the problem. We're going to get around the problem by making our own. Yes, this piece is homemade. Now, it may seem a little daunting at first to make something like this, but it's really not that hard. If you just sit down and take it in easy stages, don't try to rush ahead and do too much. Now, welders and fabricators usually make things out of paper and cardboard first, so you make all your mistakes with a very, very cheap material that you can change with a snip of a pair of scissors. And if it doesn't work, throw it away. It saves a lot of time cutting out bits of metal, making mistakes and having to throw it away. So, with that in mind, there are various ways, excuse me, of getting your pattern. First of all, you could do a rubbing to find out where your bolt holes are and the shape of what you need. That's not too bad, fairly accurate. That's with a soft pencil. Then there's the grubby finger mark way of doing it, which is usually my favourite. That's what we did. And eventually you end up with something presentable like this, which shows you where your tank bolts are and where your tank bag horseshoe mounts are. The next thing to do is to find a piece of suitable material. Excuse me. In this case we're looking at pieces of scrap aluminium. These are left over from welding jobs I or my son have done in the past. And, you know, you could use the side off an old refrigerator or something, any old bit of aluminum, road signs, you know, whatever. I'm not suggesting you go out and rip down a road sign, but that sort of thing. And it's amazing what you can find if you don't throw things away like we don't. You know, there's another one. There's a piece for another one to be made. That'll save about $120, $140. Just a piece of scrap. So anyway, we mark it all out. We mark it out. And then what we end up with is something like this. Now, this is a replica of that piece of paper. And it was cut out on a plasma machine by my son for me, but you don't need a plasma machine. You could cut this out with a jigsaw, and then you cut this out with a jigsaw too, and then you achieve your roundness with a half round coarse file. Aluminium is not easy to file. It will block up a file, but if you look for a very coarse bastard file, or if you look for a pipeliner file or a special half round aluminum file, a bit of patience and you will achieve something like this. Now this is okay, but I needed to open out the center, and I needed to trim off some here to get this shape here, which I did with a file, and it took me 15 minutes to do all this. Take all that out. Now you need to drill, and you need to drill the holes in the right place, and you don't need to make any mistakes. So what you do is you take this piece off, knock a little pin out here, So you take the lid off, and then you have the outer piece, which you then use as a jig to drill these holes. So you put it down on your drill press and clamp it, and then you just run a drill the same size as the hole you require. These are 4mm screws, so just use a 4.5mm drill, which will go through the holes, and then just run it down and just put a mark in each place where you want to drill. Don't drill the whole thing. Make sure it's all clamped and nothing can move. Take your ring piece away and then drill it all out. Do a similar thing here. Use this itself as a jig, clamp it down fairly tightly so it won't move. Mark it in the drill press until you bridge. That's a bench drill or a pillar drill. If you don't have one of those, you can hand drill it. It's no big deal. Just be careful. So just mark it first. Take this piece away, drill the whole thing out. Then it's just a simple matter of deciding where you want the bend. So again, you can use a piece of cardboard, put the bend where you want it, put it in a big vise, or put it between two bits of angle iron and bend it. Not a big deal. You can even squash it with your hand if you want, but I wouldn't. I would bend it along an edge that's nice and straight. Fibre, a 6-inch vise will do it, or a smaller vise with 2 bits of angle iron in it will do the job for you. Then just under here, to make sure it doesn't rub, we use a piece of this stick-on door insulation made by 3M. I don't know what it's called, but you use it for draft exclusion, or you could just glue a piece of rubber on there, or find a grommet or a rubber button. Just something to go there, so that you have a lot of weight on the bag. It doesn't mark the tank. So there we go. This is the tank bag. Goes there. We are on solid. Very, very easy. No straps, no nothing. Completely waterproof, with a transparent top, so you can put a paper map in there, like I do. I also have a map on my phone, but I don't use it all that much. Only in towns for road by road instructions. So there we go. DIY tank bag. Took 2 or 3 hours to make one afternoon. Not a big deal. Saved a whole whack of money. I think it'll do the job. The only thing I would want to do is, if I was running without it, I'd want to put something soft over here, just in case I had an accident and I went over the handlebars and I left the family jewels behind. You know, it has happened. Not to me, but you know. Anyways, so there we go. That's another little thing you can do for yourself if you're slightly handy. If you know how to use an electric drill and a saw and a file, you know how to do that. It's just a case of deciding you want to do it, and then go ahead and do it. So until next time, it's goodbye from him. It's goodbye from the Himalayan dog. Keep the rubber side down, keep the shiny side up, take care of yourselves, look after one another, try to stay out of trouble. Goodbye.